There's a lot of people that don't want their picture.
Cool. So, welcome everybody to the Camino International. I'm the company director of Life's an Adventure, and we're very lucky also to have Abby, who's
Hi,
our
everybody.
hi Abby. She's been our guide on the in Europe for the past 2 years. So and because she's my favourite guide, there she is. In all the whole business, you're very, very lucky if you go on a European tour because I think she's the best by a country mile. No, no, everybody's great, but yeah, she's a really experienced and fantastic operator. So yeah, thanks everybody for coming along. I I basically just wanted to quickly run past you. Some of you have already been on our tours, but why we're a little bit different and what our herbs and spices are. But as you can see, my beautiful wife and myself, we've won 23 awards, um, 23 awards up to the Australian Tourism Award for um, adventure tourism. So that's pretty cool. Um, yeah, and we started this business quite a long time ago. What, 15, maybe 18 years ago with my beautiful wife. Um, what we what we do is lots of we try and look at the tour a different way, and walking's only part of the adventure. So every tour sort of has a helicopter ride or something with a wow factor. Might be a I don't know a dinner with the a winemaker, or there's always something making cooking classes and something fun. We also specialise in pack-free walking. So we only carry our packs. We have flexible walking options. So, there's two guides on every walk. So you don't have to do the hard walk that might be 18 Ks. So there might be an easier option or miss the half the day. And we can go into all those options during this tour, with this webinar. We have, sorry, I'm racing ahead. We have every night wine is included on the tour, so we think that's really cool that wine is available at dinner. Helps people socialise, and hey, it's great not having to put your hand in the pocket for that sort of stuff. We have yeah, local guide on every tour. So, and we have a host guide, and that's been Abby in the past. She's one of our best from Australia. So, yeah, just to make sure that the Life's an Adventure brand is followed all the way through. And yeah, we specialise also in the local food options. So let's get into the fun stuff. This is obviously probably one of the world's most popular and famous walking tour. There's actually probably, Abby, I'll just start off here, but I can let you help. But there's probably 100 ways to get to Santiago de Compostela, but these are one of the more popular ways. So there's lots of ways to get there from France, but we picked this famous way from Le Puy and Velay. And then that's the French way, but and then the French way is continued into Spain. So there's a there's a way there, and then we do a Portuguese way. But there's lots of different ways. My goodness, there's hundreds of ways, but these seem to be the most popular and the ones that we offer. And I'm quite fond of the French way. Um, Actually, I might get Abby to talk a little bit about other tours that we offer, just so people
Just looking at
know
the
that we
two
don't
options.
just do the Camino. But
Yeah,
Abby, can you help me out with some of these tours? Just
no
just
worries.
quickly in maybe a minute,
Yeah,
just telling
for
about these different areas.
well, I think on tours at the moment, people are a little bit curious about what's going on in Europe and finding it hard to choose what would best be suited
Yeah.
to what they would like. So today, I guess we'll just give you a bit of an overview of the different types of things we involve in each of our caminos and how they differ and how they're
Yeah.
similar. But also here you can see that we do an Italian Dolomite trip. Dolomites, I think, has probably been one of the most spectacular places I've ever been. And it's really great in the sense that some of our other tours, being a pilgrimage or a through trail, we're moving on every day. Whereas the Dolomites, we really get to nestle into it and stay put in 2 different accommodations each for 3 nights. So that's really beautiful about the Dolomites. Mark and Vicky are pretty good and are wizards at choosing the most beautiful accommodation you can choose in different places. So we stay the first 3 nights in a place called Ortazai, which is very much like Austrian Italian, and the accommodation there is like a beautiful spa chalet. And then we go up of the Dolomites for the next 3 nights in Cortina. So the food, accommodation, and all of those sorts of things are just spectacular. And every day is, I guess, awe-inspiring in terms of the scenery that you're walking in. You can see there on the left a video or a photo of a helicopter ride we include. So it's just another, amazing opportunity to experience the Dolomites in their full force, which is by air. In the middle there, you've got Greg, that's Marilee's husband, and also on the right on our walks, which is fun. And
thanks, Marilee.
Yeah, the beautiful.
It was a wonderful trip. It's very, very good.
Yeah, it's very spectacular. It's a little more technical in terms of terrain. We're only sort of covering, probably in between 300 and 800 meters of elevation gain each day, but underfoot it's a little more technical and rocky, so one that you'd want to probably train for so that you get the most out of the experience.
Yeah. Can I add, you could spend easy a month in the Dolomites, and we've just gone through and picked what we believe are the 7 best hikes in the area. So you could spend 2 months there and never do everything. But it was very hard to pick, but we picked the best ones that we thought. Yeah. Anyway, and great accommodation. I love the post office. Did you stay there in Cortina?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, authentic.
Yeah.
Italian accommodation. Yeah. Anything else you want to add to there? We go on to the next one.
No, that's good.
Yep.
All right, this one's the Via Francigena in Tuscany. So this is a pilgrimage route very similar to the Camino de Santiago, but it starts in Canterbury in the UK and goes all the way to Rome. So we do the Tuscan section, so 7 days, 6 nights. It's very similar to the French Camino in terms of the fact that you're staying in beautiful chalets, but they're more palaces probably in Tuscany, and fine dining, wining, all of those sorts of fun things when you're on holiday. And most walks are through the rolling Tuscan hills. So technicality wise, underfoot, it's pretty well paved the whole way. No real, there's no bouldering or rock scrambling or anything like that. And the walks range from about 8 kilometres to 16 kilometres, inclusive of a beautiful cooking class. And on the second day, we go truffle hunting. That's always a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So beautiful, beautiful countryside, and we've made a few little amendments to that tour from Abby's suggestions. But yeah, beautiful tour. Moving on to Mount Blanc.
Mont Blanc, this is my favourite, but it's probably one of the more challenging. If you're up for a challenge in 2025 or beyond, Mont Blanc's probably the one for you. Basically, in summary, it is a hiking trail that goes around the Mont Blanc Massif. So if you're going from start all the way to finish, it's 170 kilometres with 10,000 metres of elevation gain. But as Life's an Adventure, we do it in a highlight way. So Mark and Vicky again have chosen the best accommodations down in the valley, and each day you're sort of going up and over a high path down to a beautiful chalet, and you just walk, eat, sleep, repeat every day. Mont Blanc is the highest mountain in Europe, so it sort of sits at 5,000 metres. So every day you're just staring at this snow-capped mountain peak. There's glaciers. Yeah, it is challenging. We sort of do have days over 1,000 meters of climbing, but you're rewarded at night with the beautiful accommodation and the sense of, I guess, accomplishment if you're up for a physical challenge.
And it's in the 3 countries, so you get to go through 3 countries, and it was very good.
There is flexible walking options too, Abby, each day.
Yeah, that's right. We always have 2 people on the trail there. So, yeah, you know, if you wanted to do a shorter walk, it mostly includes an out and back trail in Mont Blanc. On the other walks, we always, you know, have a designated morning tea, lunch and afternoon tea break. So you can opt in and opt out at those different points. Because Mont Blanc, we are going quite remote. It's more if you take a shorter option, you're going out for a certain time and then you'll come back to where you start. But on the positive there, you do get to drive around some of these really cute and quaint villages that the walkers don't see. So there's, you know, wins in both regard.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then we're not going into detail on Portuguese, but yeah, just a quick overview of that one.
Yep. So Portuguese Camino ends in Santiago de Compostela. So really, in terms of pilgrimages around the world, there's 3 major centres: Jerusalem, Rome and Santiago. So the Portuguese Camino has gained quite a lot of traction as all Caminos have become more popular and I guess commercialised over the last few years. But it starts in Porto, which is a beautiful sort of big city in Portugal, and ends in Santiago. We sort of spend 2.5 days highlighting in Portugal, and then we do the last 100 kilometres to Santiago to get your official Compostela.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's beautiful. I did the coastal Portuguese way, and this is the inland way. And I just found the coastal was like walking from, for me, from Wollongong through to Newcastle. So it was very, very built up. But the inland way was a bit more interesting and cute and quaint along the way. So that's why we chose the inland route on this one.
Cool.
All right. But yeah, we're going to get involved in the French Le Puy Camino walk, and here's some photos from the walk. Anything you wanted to add, Abby?
So the French Camino, we begin in the city of Lyon in France, and we then transfer about an hour and a half to the town of Le Puy-en-Velay. It really is like a pilgrim town. Lots of monuments around the village are UNESCO heritage listed. So if you can kind of imagine what a ski village would be like, that's Le Puy, but for pilgrims. So it's got this nice sort of spirit around it. We start the day outside of Le Puy, and we actually walk backwards on the Camino down to Le Puy. The thing that makes it unique is its geology. So it's on a volcanic plateau, and there's all of these little, they call them volcanic plugs, that they've put these monuments that have connection to the Camino around the. So we've chosen to walk backwards down to Le Puy so that you get to enjoy the vista of that, and it gives us the chance to have a bit of a, you know, I think the benefit of having a small group, 10 people maximum, is that we really get to personalise our tour, and that's our day to kind of work out the happy medium pace, and, you know, if somebody might need to take a shorter option on some of the days.
It was my decision to walk it backwards because Le Puy is a beautiful town. It's got, we walk in there and then have a late lunch and in the square, and it's got some really cool little restaurants. And Le Puy is French for a bean. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. So we do a bit of it in the Arbo, and we taste their local specialties. The other one's a vervine, a liqueur. That's always fun before.
Cool. And when we did this with Abby, I was so impressed because Abby scouted out. The cool thing is there is a liqueur that's blessed by the, you know, what, you tell me more, but there was we went to a blessing before you start the walk
Yeah,
in
that's morning of day
yeah,
2.
and then you go to a mass as well in the morning. So that's why we didn't want to miss out on those highlights as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
We always get people that, some obviously come for religious purposes, but a lot these days, being Australians and, Australians tend to have interest in hiking. A lot of people just come for the culture and the immersion in little quaint French villages. And we're basically cutting the whole centre of France. So it's very remote comparably to the French way in Spain, the more popular one.
Yeah. And the other cool thing, Lapuy, we walk up to the top of St. Mary's
statue. Yeah.
statue and look out of a statue. So you can look out of the eye of St. Mary's. Yeah, which is really cool. Okay, moving on to the next day.
So the next day we begin our journey on the Camino de Santiago, really walking in the direction of Santiago de Compostela. So it's about 750 kilometers from Le Puy-en-Velay to the Pyrenees, so Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and we're splitting that over 7 nights. But we do spend the first 4 days in, let's say, the first 250 kilometers of that 50-kilometer journey, because they're the more picturesque. So sort of think rolling hills. It's probably 30% on well-paved trail, and then the rest is on sort of single track hiking trail, which makes it more nature-based compared to being, walking beside a highway, which you might hear a little bit about when people talk about the Camino. Yeah. They're very cute and quaint villages, all remarkably with UNESCO heritage listed cathedrals that, you sort of catch yourself always saying, this is an 11th century building, this is a 12th century building. So it's just really ancient country, which is beautiful. Yeah. And we finish the day in our first chateau, and we begin our tour of the chateaus, which is absolutely stunning at Chateau de Orifet, which is quite unique and quirky, and experiences that are hard to find without the knowledge that sort of Mark has gained in choosing where we go, which is cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I love this accommodation because every room is different and they're quite quirky. There's a spa bath. You might be lucky enough to get a spa bath that's in the shape of a love heart, and it's bright pink. And then there's another bedroom where it's a round bed, and above it is a round TV. So it's quite amazing, quite beautiful, as you can see from the photos, and in the middle of nowhere. But it happens to be on, well positioned on in between this beautiful walk. So I'll move on. Anything else you wanted to add there, Abby?
No, that's good.
Yeah. I love this next walk. I think
I think this is most people's favorite day walking. So we hit it's called the Aubrac Plateau, which is in the central massif of France. So in the wintertime, it's ski touring country. But in the summertime, especially in the springtime, you just have this abundance of wildflowers, and the Aubrac cow, which it's sort of known for, and migrates there in the summer months, and they just live happily in these beautiful pasture lands. So we sort of just walk through private land past all of these beautiful cows. There's wildflowers everywhere, and you just sort of live out your Sound of Music dreams in a way. It's just stunning. And once you're in that walk, you get that sense of remoteness where, you're not hearing the beepings of cars, and the air is fresh, which, when you're traveling around Europe, crave that kind of nature-based experience. So that's what we get on day number 3. We end it tasting the local specialties. So in the bottom left-hand corner there, you can see what's called aligot, which is, only known in this region. It's sort of like a decadent potato, cheesy, creamy goodness. And then we go to our second chateau of the tour. it's always hard to leave the accommodation the night before, and people kind of have that attachment to where we are, and then you're sort of blessed with this new amazing place. And here we've got Chateau de Labro. So the first or the second night is really quite quirky, and then Chateau de Labro is very like a traditional chateau.
Yeah.
And they always treat us really kindly. Now we've sort of built that partnership for about 3 years. We get to dine in the sort of king quarters and watch the sunset go down.
Wow.
For dinner. Stunning.
Yeah, cool. I was really blown away with the that lunch experience is where they bring out the cheese they bring it out to our table. So they go voila and bring it out and serve it on your plate. So I really love that. Yeah, that part of it. Cool. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
So day number 4, we transfer back to the trail from Chateau Labro, and we are walking from Espalion to Estaing, and then we transfer to Conques. Conques is, if you're doing like the whole thing, stage 10 of the French way, but that will be our night 4. So that gives you a little bit of an idea that we have transfers generally before the walk and then transfers after the walk.
Yeah.
Only sort of about half an hour, 40 minutes in the first half of the week, and then a little longer as we're covering more kilometres towards the end of the week. This area is lots of the villages we go through get the stamp of the most beautiful picturesque village in France. So yeah, basically.
Hard to pick that.
Yeah, we're starting
Oh, beautiful.
along the Lot River, and we just follow the Lot River, and we continue to follow the Lot River for the next few days. And it's just beautiful, quintessential French villages that we get to wander from and to and through. It's just stunning.
As you can see, there's a 12K walk this day, but we can vary it. But yeah, the walking into Conques, I think Conques is one of the most beautiful towns, villages in all of Europe, and it's all medieval style village. So it's on the side of a hill, so it's quite steep going down into it. So quite unusual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all the towns are amazing, aren't they?
Yeah.
Oh, this day I added.
This day's great. I love this.
You love it, yeah.
So there's a variant of the Camino, which we call it the French way, but it also gets termed the GR65. And this day we go on the GR651. And it takes us to the Grotte de Pechmel, and that is a more like a tourist experience where we go down into a cave, an underground cave, in a sort of like a limestone caste system. And there's rock art there that dates back 30-odd thousand years. So that's a bit of a different, unique experience that gives you a bit of history of the place that we're in. And then after we do that and we have a nice picnic lunch, we walk down on, you can see sort of like a pathway cut into the rock cliffs there, which is just stunning and different from anything we've done before. And eventually we arrive.
Too good to miss.
Pardon?
Too good to miss.
Too good to miss, yeah. We come up to the beautiful hilltop village of Saint Cercle-le-Poppy. If you've heard of places like Rocamadour before, it's just like that, but less, doesn't get the big bus tours that come into there. So, it's just absolutely stunning. And then we stay in our creme de la creme accommodation that night at the Chateau Mercure, which you can see in the bottom right-hand corner there, which just blew me away the first time we stayed there. The dinner is a Michelin-star restaurant, so it's just nothing like you've ever done before. You sort of feel like a princess or a king or a queen. It's quite one to remember.
Yeah. Can I add a couple of things? The walk I added because it was along the lot, but it's through limestone country, and it's got lots of caves or grottos through there, and you can actually see where cavemans come out of the cave and then built a house on the side of the cliff near the cave. So they're moving from cave to living outside. So what are they called again? The troglodytes. So it's that sort of thing. And, Saint Circular Poppy, I'd challenge you to find any more beautiful a town than that. It's perched on the top of the sandstone cliffs, and goes all the way down. And then, yep, I was really disappointed when I found out I was on the ground floor of the Mercure, Chateau Mercure's. But then I realised, hey, they were about 400 metres above the ground, above the castle's 400 metres above the ground, and actually having the ground floor had no difference to the second or the third or the first level. So and it's just got magnificent views of their lot. So, and the restaurant there is, I think, two Michelin star.
Yeah, they've done really well.
Okay, we'll move on from there. But yeah, beautiful, fantastic experience.
Alrighty, so day 6, we're clocking a few more kilometres, but we visit the picturesque town of Auvillers for our morning tea break. That's just another village that gets the terms the most beautiful village in France. And then we continue on to La Rossignol. This is a really unique little place. It's probably the most well-maintained medieval village in France. So that's always cool to see. And then we have an easier walk in terms of terrain. It's we're getting into wine country in the food bowl of France here. So it's there are a few little undulations or fundulations, we like to call them, but fairly flat and good for all to walk to Montreal de Gers before transferring to what a lot of people in this year said was their favourite accommodation at the monastery.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There's a renovated old monastery dating back to the 10th century. And it's, really quite special, and another beautiful dining experience that night.
Out on the courtyard. Is that where you dined or inside?
Yeah, it depends what the weather's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I don't have much more to add to that day, but it's, great walk.
Now, our final day, we finally arrive in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, and hopefully, when we're driving from the monastery to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, we get these beautiful picturesque views of Pyrenees mountain range. We arrive in what's called Basque country, and that's inclusive of places like San Sebastian, Bilbao, Pamplona, and it's very distinctive in terms of the architecture and the culture. So we have one night and one day to kind of experience all of that. So we walk into Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port and finish our big journey together all together. Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, if you've seen the movie about the Camino called The Way, that's where it's sort of filmed in its sort of infant stages. We sort of arrive mid-afternoon, so you have a lot of time to explore the tourist sort of places in the afternoon before having a nice little celebratory dinner together at night to celebrate the finish of our journey.
Cool. This is our, unfortunately we have to go. If you're just doing the French, you're finishing here. But just as a summing up, I think it's my favourite tour of all the tours we do throughout Life's an Adventure, in that it's a slice through France, through a lesser known part of France, seeing the villages and the countryside. And it's so diverse because it's, so different from the Puy to the end bit. And every time we stop, the region has a different wine and a different food and a different, so it's just a, really beautiful way to see France on the Camino. So, I don't know much more to add than that, but it's a great tour.
So if you decide just to do the French Camino, the next day after arriving to Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, you'll get a private transfer back to Bayonne. Bayonne's another beautiful city in France by the coast. Lots of people decide to either stay there or get transferred to Bordeaux. It's an easy sort of train transfer to Bordeaux, or go down to Biarritz for some big dwelling for a few days before heading into San Sebastian, Bilbao, coastal area of Spain. So it's beautifully located.
Yes, for those people continuing on, we'll now talk about heading from St. John de Port to Santiago de Compostela. So, this actually, I might go back to if that's okay, just to go back, just to explain to people where we're actually. Sorry, guys, I thought it's right up. Oh, there it is. So we've just covered the Le Puy through to St. John Pied de Port. Then the tour then basically does the highlights. I've had guides that have walked all the way 35 days and loved it, but this bit here was very monotonous, and there's some absolutely beautiful places in the middle of here, but we don't do the whole lot, obviously, and we do the highlights. So we're trying to pick the best bits. So now we're going to talk about the 3 nights that we go on way to Santiago de Compostela, touching on Pamplona, Burgos, Astorga, but then we do the whole 100 kilometers from Sarria to get the certificate. So that's basically the next part of the walk. As you can see, we do the Portugal one as well. So I'll just rush back to there.
I think before we go on, we just had a question about estimated spending money on the French Camino. It pretty much is all inclusive. So all of your meals are paid for, and we provide trail mix and sort of small snacks for the trail. And at dinner, we cater for about half a bottle of wine per person. So in the past, it just seems like people are spending their own money if they're buying any souvenirs along the way, and if they would like to have a pre-dinner drink or like a whiskey at the end of the evening. But everything else is pretty well included.
Yeah. So if you want anything other than wine, you'll have to purchase that yourself. But also we have a special little scallop shell that we give you.
Yeah, so everyone will get a scallop and a Compostela, a little stamp book, which is a nice memento and something if you are doing the whole Camino, you can submit at the at cathedral.
Yeah. Other than, you go past an ice cream stand or I can't see any other than, presents and things, any other thing that you might need to purchase.
Yeah.
All right. So we're doing the Spanish side. All right. Can I go back to you, Abby?
Yeah, for sure. So if we're talking about Saint Jean Pied de Port to Santiago de Compostela, that's another 750, 800 kilometers. So it takes people about 6 weeks to complete the whole journey. It's divided into 3 sections. So the first third is working on the physical body. The middle section is the mind. It's like super flat and a lot of people find boring. It's just, big, barren, open farming land, mostly wheat. And then you get to the spirit of the Camino, which is the last 100 kilometers heading into Santiago. So we're beginning in Saint Jean Pied de Port, and that day is probably our most physical day of the whole thing because we're going up and over the Pyrenees. Elevation-wise, it's probably about 800 meters, but it's one of those walks that once you're in, you're in. There's where we drop you off is the last service road, and then when we pick you up, it's the last service road. I guess a lot of people fear sometimes that they're not good enough, but we, cater to the happy medium pace, and everyone has always been able to do it. It's just a matter of managing your pace throughout the day to get you to the end destination. And I think that's the Camino in a nutshell. Like, you see people out there that have one leg, they're blind, they may have never walked in their life, but they're all sort of determined to be there. And that's sort of, I guess, the spirit of the way. So we do that day and we stay in Pamplona that night. Pamplona is known for the running of the bulls, and it's a bit of a, somewhere where people go and party. Like, it's very Spanish in the sort of thing that it comes alive at 8:30 at night. So we have a nice tapas dinner that night and go for a bit of a tour, a city tour around Pamplona, to share some history about it.
Yeah. Go to the bull ring.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Then the next day we have a walk, and definitely for these types of walks, we do offer, and even for the French Camino, people can opt in and opt out of the walk at any time. So some people decide to catch a transfer to morning tea, or they might walk to morning tea, and then they might decide to have a break till lunch. So they'll hop in the transfer vehicle and then meet the group for lunch, and so on and so forth. So that's a nice walk. It's definitely more populated in terms of people from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to Santiago. So unlike the French way, where you don't really run into too many people, and if you do run into people, they're usually French nationals. On the true French way, so the way that we're talking about now, you have all walks of life out there. So there's much more, I guess, interaction with others. People are a bit curious about why you're doing the Camino, that kind of thing. So that night we stay in Burgos. Burgos used to be the capital of Spain, so it's got the most opulent cathedral you could ever see. When we go and do a little bit of a tour through there,
And the accommodation, Palacio, which is Spanish for palace, is a palace. It's just stunning accommodation. I think it's one of the best and authentic, beautiful places to stay. Even, the night before was just as beautiful.
They're all stunning.
Yeah.
Okie dokie. So the next day is our chance to experience that meseta, so the long flat section that I was talking about. By definition, it goes from Burgos to Astorga. So we walk into Astorga. We stay at a little spa hotel, which is nice. So if you're needing a bit of an R&R in terms of spa, you can tick that off here in Astorga. Some people like to go out and visit some things in the afternoon. We're right smack bang in the centre of town, so it's always prime location for touristing. Once we finish our walk, it's got a beautiful Gaudi museum and also a chocolate museum. So we sort of walk, eat, sleep, repeat, and some fun things in between in this section. Alrighty, so day 5, we have a little walk in the morning, and then we finally arrive in Sarria, and Sarria is the start point of the last 100 kilometres. So I think by definition, if you're starting from Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port, that's probably about 10% of all people on the French way, whereas when you hit Sarria, that's 30% of all people on any pilgrimage route. So we hit a huge wave of people come Sarria, but the spirit becomes more alive, I guess, because there's more people out there, again, from all walks of life and all around the world. So, if you're one that likes to walk, I guess, journey-based, where you're walking from A to B, B to C, C to D, from Sarria to Santiago, will sort of give you that experience and sensation.
It's exactly 100 kilometres, so you need to complete 100 kilometres to receive your certificate from God.
But also we get people on the tour that they're not concerned about getting the certificate, so they take that transfer throughout if they need.
Can I add, Sarria isn't that exciting a town. However, we've found one of the most beautiful little accommodation places. It's a paddock to plate kind of experience, and it's over 1,000 years old. Casa, how do you say it? Calixio? Guerrero?
Guerrero. It's been in the family bloodline forever. So it's the two sisters. They're delightful. Greet you, cook us dinner. It's really like a homestay, and you're very special.
Yeah. All right. I'll move on.
So we don't really need to do any transfers this day, which is nice. You just get to walk into the accommodation and then walk out of the accommodation, which is great. And we end in the village of Porto Marine. It's a longer day or longer days on this last 100 Ks because we're trying to tick off the 100 kilometres. But we do finish before lunch on this day. So you have the whole afternoon to have some R&R. We stay in a spa hotel again, so there's opportunities for the spa, and then dine out in a beautiful seafood at night.
Pretty stunning town on a river.
Yeah.
All right.
This will be our longest stay, 24 kilometres. It is challenging for most people, but everybody generally always gets through. And the terrain is not challenging; it's just the distance that is challenging.
Yeah.
And it's very well paved. All of this way is very paved underfoot. So no matter what the weather's doing, you've got very compact ground underneath you. There's always that debate between hiking shoes, trail shoes, runners, etc. And I always go a trail shoe or a hiking boot is what would be best for this section. We then transfer to the town of Lugo or the city of Lugo, and we stay there for 2 nights. So we're sort of jumping from 1 night to 2 nights in Lugo, which is always welcomed.
This is the beauty of having a mini bus with you as well on the whole tour, is that when there's limited accommodation along the way, we can, jump in our vehicles at the end of the walk and then transfer to the Lugo is an incredible little a Roman walled city that's very close by. So if you were doing it as proper, you would miss this. But I think Lugo is quite incredible little town to see.
Yeah.
And the accommodation is sensational. So what we try to do is have the same sort of accommodation the whole way. And if you just stayed on the trail, it's very, to be four stars one night and then no stars the next night. So that's why we do go off trail, to make it more exciting and keep quite beautiful accommodation the whole way. And there is options, isn't there, Abby, for this day if you didn't want to do the whole 24?
Yeah, for sure. The guys morning tea, lunch and afternoon tea. So you opt in and opt out as you need.
Yeah. Cool.
On day 8, after a big long day, we have a bit of a rest day. Once you've sort of conditioned yourself to walking 24 kilometres, 14 kilometres, believe it or not, feels like a rest day. And it provides us time in the afternoon to go back to Lugo, and then you can go and explore the city or inside the old city walls. We include a city tour when we're in Lugo, so that also gives us time for the historical centre. And there's some stunning dining opportunities too in Lugo. So all of the villages along the Spanish Way have a Camino meal and maybe a beer with your dinner and go to bed like every other pilgrim. But when we go to Lugo, it provides, I guess, that point of difference in the fact that we get to experience these fine dining places and a very unique accommodation here in the center of town. So yeah, good.
Awesome. We've got another question, Abby, about are there many scams or crimes to watch out for?
I've never experienced it. It's kind of like a self-medicating kind of person, I reckon, on the Camino. Like there's so many people around. Like if anybody did anything wrong, they'd be vilified pretty quickly. So yeah, I've never experienced.
No, me either.
Yeah.
All right, we'll move on. Can you? Sorry, guys.
Hi, Abby. Greg's here.
Hey,
Hi, Abby.
hey, Greg. Good. How are
You get closer now.
you?
We're at the beach.
You
We're on
had-
the beach.
Was that your Brighton Beach the other day?
No, I was at Port Noarlunga.
I Port Noarlunga. That's a nice
Yeah.
spot.
Yeah.
So
It was-
anyway, they're going back to talk, but I just
Yeah.
thought it was a break.
All right, day 9. Walk. Where are we walking this day?
So this day we're going from Melita to Azua, another 14.5 kilometre day. Some groups, and this is group dependent, have chosen to walk a little bit longer this day, and then that allows us not to have to walk 20 kilometres on the final day into Santiago.
Yeah,
But yeah, we stay 5 minutes
that's
off
a
the
good
track
idea.
at Pazo de Brandesco Country Club. It's a Spanish palace. Very unique. Probably, Mark, do not know how you found this one, but potentially one of your favourites. It's
Yeah.
owned by a medical professional who's a lecturer for the Mayo Clinic, and very, very intelligent guy, but he also has an invested interest in, I think he probably stems from a very affluent hunting Spanish family. So there's a lot of taxidermy around. But yeah, it's very, very unique. And bless his soul, he sits down with us before dinner on the first night or the second night and tells us about the history of the country club, which really makes you feel a lot more connected to the place and understand where all of the things
Cool.
come from. It's like walking into a night at the museum.
Yeah, it's insane the amount of animals and things that are there, but it's his family heirloom, and it's been collected over 300 years or so. So yeah, it's quite an amazing experience to stay there. But there's not much else there either, so we're just trying to find the most eclectic and fun places to stay to make it a memorable tour. Yeah, as you can see there, that's the dining area, the private dining room that we have at the country club, which is beautiful food, attic to plate kind of experience again. Did you want to talk about our walk, Abby?
Yeah. So I guess if Spain were split up into states like Australia, like for example Sydney compared to Melbourne, in where we're walking is the old area land that's called Galicia, and Galicia is probably the wettest and greenest and most agricultural part of Spain. So we're walking through a lot of cobblestone streets of old, I guess, farming villages, which is really nice. So we'll see lots of cows. Typically, it is, when you think of Spain, you think hot and dry. This part of Spain is quite often wet, cool, and very green. So, we'll be out on the trail for a bit longer that day. But again, weather depending at Pazo de Brandesco Country Club, they've got a nice pool on the outside. So if, the group needs some more R&R in the afternoon, we've got opportunities to either go back and have a day of rest or go and explore the villages that we either start in or finish in.
Cool. All right. Then we've got the last day. How cool's that?
The last day is always very exciting. There's a really nice energy on the trail. And we're walking into Santiago de Compostela. We sort of start up high and we sort of descend into Santiago. So we have lunch out on the track, and then it's just a matter of doing the last 5 kilometres with all of the other people and completing our journey at the Cathedral of Santiago de Compostela. And very luckily, we stay at the Parador of Santiago, which is literally on the square. So I think you could probably sit in your room for hours and just look out the window, or sit yourself down in the square and watch all of the pilgrims coming in, finishing their journey. It's quite, sometimes you think it wouldn't be an emotional thing, and no matter how many times you do it, it's always just, quite humbling and heartwarming to see all the people finishing something that they've wanted to do for a very long time.
Yeah, thanks, Abby. When planning this, I really wanted to stay at the Parador, in that it's it is something else. In Australia, we don't have accommodation like the French or the Spanish section, and this place is just out of this world. And this is where the pilgrims finished their walk. This is actually for a thousand years. This is the hotel that they stayed in, and this is where they had their supper. So I think it's quite authentic, and it's amazing to stay. And all the other companies that I looked at, no one else stays at the Parador. So I thought it was just a great way to finish the tour, staying in the cathedral, the place where everybody finished. Hmm.
Mm.
Okay, so then we say goodbye,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, it's all over. Anything you wanted to add, Abby, overall?
I think when you think the Camino, it's sort of like peeling back all of the materialistic things in your life and living simply again. And we're sort of putting in all of these amazing accommodations, Michelin restaurants, dining, wine, all those sorts of things, which typically, I guess, isn't really what a pilgrimage would be. But from my experience in all of the tours we've done in the past, it doesn't take away from that experience. Like, we're still walking, eating, sleeping, repeating, and with the goal of getting to Santiago. So it doesn't sort of, it doesn't affect the experience of being on the Camino de Santiago. It just elevates it and gives you, not just a walking experience, but a cultural, historical, and dare I say, like, it's fun, it's exciting, it's things that you'll look back on with fond memories and experiences that I think are hard to find without the prior knowledge of the Camino.
Yeah, I suppose when I planned this as well, I thought my clients, or the people that do the tour, will never do this again, and I really wanted you to experience the best accommodation, the best sections of the trail, that not necessarily what I thought, but what other pilgrims, what other people have told me when I was there. And I just, you're never going to do it again, so I want to give you the best experience. So that's how we do it. It's more for people that don't have the 30 days or the 35 days to walk the whole thing. They can do other things in Europe, and they get a really beautiful snapshot of what the Camino is about. So I hope you love it if you come along. We might open now to some questions that people might have. And is there any more you wanted to add, Abby? Or here's some dates.
Yeah, that's
Cool shot. That's Abby. She's a great guide. Gets everybody doing silly things.
Indeed.
You've changed your shoes here, Abby.
change my shoes.
Yeah.
So
That's regular occurrence,
Little
Greg.
gasket.
can we ask a quick, Greg, you want to ask a question about the
well,
transfers?
the size of the bus for the commute, and is it one or two, or that was it.
For the first, the one through France.
The French. We did the same as what we had with Nicole, with two.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're two 8-seaters. So basically the group would be split up into, two groups of 4 or 2 groups of 5 if there was 10, or 2 groups of 6, but that's the max. Would be 12 people on the tour.
What was the other question?
But two vehicles, not one big bus.
I can't remember.
We had another question, but we'll let someone else ask and we'll think.
These are all our dates and prices and single subs. The French Camino, because of the chateaus, is a little bit more pricier, but so they're quite more expensive. But the Spanish section is a little bit cheaper on accommodation, but still absolutely stunning accommodation along the way. But it tends to be a bit cheaper.
I think if you are coming along to the Spanish way, it's good to give yourself an extra day in Santiago at the end of the tour. There's lots of things to see and do.
Sorry, may we ask about the one going through France? What was that, Greg?
Yeah. Oh no, there's an 8-day and a 12-day walk, but I'm just a bit. I came in late. I'm sorry. I'm silly.
No, you're right. If you do the 8 days, you start in Le Puy-en-Velay and you finish in Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port. So you're in France.
That's the one we're looking at.
Is it?
Yeah.
12 days, you would walk for 3 days in Spain and get a transfer from Sarria back to Santiago, which is before the last kilometers.
Sorry, I'm going all the way back to the
There
map.
he is. There he is.
There it is.
So
we're talking about this one.
yeah, all right.
Yes, so that's the French, goes from Le Puy through to Saint-Jean-de-Port, and then you can continue and finish at Sarria, making it 12 days. Is that right?
Yeah. 11 days. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you can add another 7 right at the end here, or 8. Yeah, so some people do it in 16, so they go from Le Puy through to Santiago, or you can finish just through the French section, or you can do just the Pyrenees to Santiago, but you can't do the Pyrenees to Sarria on its own.
But
then what happens from the Pyrenees? You cut
across.
Cut across. You get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can see that red section. It's quite long, and we stay 3 nights, so there's more car transfer at either side of the walk, and then the green section, less car transfer.
Yeah, but we believe this is the best section.
And you said that ones in starting like where the transfers are like up to 40 minutes. Is that right in the last part?
In the first 4 days, they're sort of up to 40 minutes, but we do have like an hour and a bit in the last sort of 2 days of that whole section.
Yeah. Yeah, the Puy through to, say, Cahors is very compact, and then you're doing some more Ks those last 2 days.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So it's 700 kilometres, let's say, from Le Puy through to Saint-Jean-de-Port. But you've got 7 days, so you've got at least 70 kilometres per day. And then say 35 in the morning and 35 at night, kind of thing. 40, something like that. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And
but you're also walking as well.
Yeah.
So
when you finish in Saint Jean,
place.
Then you get a transfer to Sarria and walk the last bit there, is it?
No? Greg, I'll explain later.
Oh,
no, you keep on with the tour, and you can keep on going through to Sarria. Yeah, so you stay at Pamplona, Burgos, and Astoria, and we think they're the best towns along the way with the best walks. Yeah, but if you walk Saint-Jean-de-Port through to Santiago, it's like 35 days. It's another 700, 1,000 kilometres or something. How far is it?
Yeah, it's 1,000. All those lines you can see is probably 1,500 K.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're doing the highlights. Yeah. And they're basically every stop is a night's accommodation.
Cool.
Yeah. Any other questions? How do you know you've got questions?
With the weather on the French way, it's usually pretty good, but sometimes when on day 3 we're walking in the Aubrac Plateau, so that's the high point that we get to. It's about 1,300 meters, and sometimes that can be quite a wet day, but most of the other sections are typically pretty dry.
Yeah. When we've picked the best time to walk as well, so April, May is ideal. April is not too cold, and May's not getting too hot, but July, August is touching on too hot, and that's when we have other tours in Mount Blanc and the Italian Dolomites. So basically, the season is autumn and spring. With summer, you're going up into the Alps. So that's Abby's fantastic life. Any other questions, guys?
No, thank you.
No, awesome. Thanks so much, everyone, for coming today and hearing the lovely Abby and Mark speak. If you have any questions, please shoot through an email to walks@lifesanadventure. If you want us to reach out to you, you can put your email in the chat. But we're always happy to answer any questions and have a phone call about it all. So, yeah. Thanks so much for coming, guys.
Yeah. Hey, thanks so much, everybody, for spending the time. And yeah, looking forward to spoiling you right. Abby just does an incredible job. I can't speak high enough of her. I think she's one of the best guides we've ever had. So you're in fantastic in the world. There you go. She's an amazing guide. Yeah, just full of life and fun. So you're in great hands. And thanks so much for all your time, guys.
Excuse me, will there be, I could get a tape to show Greg the first part of it sometime, or?
Yes, I'll so this is recorded. I'm about to stop the recording now, actually.
Yes.
And then I'll upload that onto YouTube. And the way you'll be able to access it is on the website.
Oh, yes.
Underneath the Caminos page.
Yes.
I'll put a little box where you can click through onto YouTube and watch it all back.
We thought it was 6 o'clock Queensland time. I don't know. Anyway. Thank you.
Worries.
Yeah, guys.
I'm sorry about that.
Thank you.
No, that's me.
Okay. Lovely to meet you all.
Bye. Bye,
Happy
Abby.
hiking. Thanks for coming along, everybody.
Thanks, guys.